The people on Christmas Island are being detained in a prison, effectively. People in
again,
rural and communities in Australia are in the main there because they want to be there. There's a very real difference in the duty that you have in terms of medical services.
You would have been to many jails and prisons.
Indeed.
And are you suggesting that Long Bay Jail is the same as a pool-fenced alternative place of detention at Phosphate Hill on Christmas Island?
Heated exchanges on Friday as the Immigration Minister appeared at the fourth public hearing of the Human Rights Commission inquiry into children in detention.
I think you've been in government now for nearly a year, and you've spent a lot of time today saying that the problems really derived from the former government. Our job is
not...
Well,
the children didn't turn up under this government except for 350. 8,400 turned up under the previous government, Madam President, so I think that's a fair statement.
So you have been saying it repeatedly this morning.
Because it's true, Madam President.
Scott Morrison said that Labor and the Greens' refusal to help the government reintroduce temporary protection visas led to more children being in detention for longer.
And the thousands of people that were still in detention and those who have had to spend longer in detention than they would otherwise have had to, would have had their claims processed. And that would have started earlier this year. But the government was also not going to have its border protection policies compromised by its political opponents playing political games in the Senate.
The Minister said over 500 children have been removed from detention thanks to one policy.
But the one response that has had the greatest impact to remove the stress on the system that creates these weaknesses and is to ensure that more people, and importantly more children, are not being added into the network by stopping the boats.
Are you seriously telling this inquiry that in your view these children are better off in closed detention, Christmas Island or elsewhere in Australia, than in the general community?
Frankly, Madam President, the results speak for themselves. And I know Mr Bowen in particular was trying to get children out of detention. But you know why he couldn't? Because his border policies were a complete and hopeless and disastrous failure. And as a result, despite his best will and his best endeavours, the number of children just kept piling up.
The greatest insight on Friday, the admission from the Immigration Minister that stopping the boats is not as simple as the slogan suggests.
There is no decision that I or any of my predecessors take as a minister in this area that is not free of moral burden. Our decisions affect people's lives. It is a heavy responsibility that no minister carries lightly, regardless of their political affiliation.